You want to be able to focus harder, work more efficiently, and have your brain operating at 100% capacity. You probably already know about nootropics like caffeine and various supplements, but light is actually a nootropic as well. So in this video, I'm going to cover everything you can do to manipulate your light environment to optimize your cognitive performance. First of all, a couple of safety disclaimers. I'm not a doctor and this isn't medical advice. It is just for informational purposes only. Don't look directly at the sun. When I tell you to get sunlight, I just mean to be outside, not looking directly at the sun. And secondly, bright light protocols can trigger mania in people with bipolar disorder. So if that is you, or if you have an eye condition, check with a doctor before trying any of this stuff. Alright, back to the video. The most important thing you need for cognitive performance is brightness. When you step outside on a clear day, you're standing in up to 100,000 lux of light. Even a grey, overcast day is at least 10 to 25,000 lux. Now, if you go back inside and sit at your desk, you're probably getting 100 to 500 lux of light. We can't really consciously tell the difference because both are bright enough to read and work in, but your brain really knows the difference. The brain is measuring raw photon inflow, and by that measurement, sitting indoors all day is nowhere close to being outside. In terms of light exposure, sitting indoors is like taking a sip of water, and being outside is like being blasted with a fire hose. They are entirely different orders of magnitude. The consensus is that you should get 250 melanopic EDI lux at eye level during the day to have your cognitive faculties working optimally, and most indoor spaces fail to hit that unless they intentionally use quite bright lights. So the first mechanism I want to cover is the master clock, your circadian rhythm. The first thing we have to do with light is set the master clock. In your brain is the suprachiasmatic nucleus that keeps your body synchronized to the 24-hour rhythm of the day. It controls when you're alert, when you're tired, when hormones rise and fall, your body temperature. Without light exposure, this clock tends to drift. It runs a little bit too fast or too slow, and light is what synchronizes it to the 24-hour clock. So you can imagine like an old grandfather clock that gains or loses a few minutes every day. That is the suprachiasmatic nucleus, and sunlight is the human hand that manually nudges the clock back to the right time. A correctly entrained clock means that your alertness rhythm, your core temperature, cortisol, and melatonin, they all peak and trough at the right times during the day and the night. So you have high arousal during work hours, and melatonin is held off until night if your circadian rhythm is on point. So in order to entrain this clock, the timing is essential. Morning light advances the clock. It makes you alert earlier in the day and sleepy a bit earlier at night. And this is what we want. So you should go outside and get some sunlight within about 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. Don't look directly at the sun. Just be outside without sunglasses on. And evening light delays the clock. It makes you alert late at night when you should be sleeping. So it can really mess up your sleep. So the most important thing for you to remember is bright days and dark nights, and especially bright mornings. So we have set the clock with morning sunlight, but bright light itself has an immediate stimulant effect on the brain. Bright light, as well as synchronizing that central clock, it also sends signals to arousal centers directly, bypassing the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It increases noradrenaline and orexin, and this makes you more alert within just a few minutes. Exposure to bright light reduces sleepiness, and it sharpens your sustained attention and reaction time compared to dim light. And blue enriched light does this even at low intensities. It speeds up reaction times on attention tasks. So this is good during the day when you want to be alert and sharp and working, but at night you don't want to be alert and awake. So this is one reason why we should avoid blue light at night. But at night, just as important as avoiding blue light is avoiding bright light, because that does the same thing. So we want to avoid bright light and blue light after sunset before going to bed. And bright light doesn't just make you feel more awake, it causes measurable improvements in processing speed, working memory, and procedural learning. Like people who learned a motor sequence, they learned it 3 times faster under bright light compared to under dim conventional light. Of course, light is very closely tied into sleep as well. The quality of your sleep depends on your sun exposure in the day before and even even several days prior. So it's not just how dark your evenings are, that is very important of course, but it's also how bright your days are. So brighter days means a stronger circadian rhythm and better sleep at night. And of course, sleep is essential for cognition. Memories are consolidated during slow wave sleep. During this time, synapses are getting pruned, and you're getting rid of the noise and the background, and you're preserving the signal in your neural activity, and that improves your ability to remember and to learn the next day. And during sleep, metabolic waste products like beta amyloid and tau are cleared out via the glymphatic system. After a good night of sleep, you are sharper, you learn faster, and you remember more. And we can see this quite clearly. In one study, office workers who worked in a brighter office slept 37 minutes longer and scored 42% higher on cognitive performance simulations compared to a office with normal lighting that's not particularly bright. In another study, office workers who worked near windows slept 46 minutes longer per night. They reported better sleep quality, and their overall quality of life was better than their colleagues who were not near a window. And you should note that usable daylight essentially vanishes more than 20 to 25 feet from a window. So one of the most important things I can tell you in this video, if you work in an office or wherever you work, try and get near a window. Spend most of your day near a window, getting as much light as you can. Open that window if you can, that is even better. But these studies are demonstrating my point that having brighter days by being like near windows or having a brighter office, that makes you sleep longer and better at night, and you perform better on these cognitive tasks. So bright days and dark nights. Bright light also supports positive mood and motivational drive, and that is very important for your goal-directed work. Mood is very important for knowledge work because it sets whether your cognitive machinery actually gets used. If you're like in a really flat mood, you're just not very happy, you're not very motivated, that kills your drive for effortful thinking, and bright light can help to improve that. Bright light also increases serotonergic tone, again improving your mood, so you have better mood, better motivation, and that leads to more sustained engagement with hard cognitive tasks. Sunlight is about half infrared light. This is the invisible wavelengths beyond red that you feel as warmth and that penetrate deep into your tissue. Inside every cell are the mitochondria. These are the power stations that make ATP, the body's energy currency. The brain is very energy hungry. It's like 2% of the body's mass, but it uses up about 20% of its energy. So energy production is incredibly important for brain function. Anything we can do to improve energy production is generally going to be good for your cognitive performance. And as I'm about to tell you, near-infrared light and red light can tie into that. The final enzyme in the mitochondrial ATP production line is called cytochrome C oxidase, and especially in stressed and inflamed cells, there is a nitric oxide molecule attached to this enzyme which throttles it and slows down ATP production. But, and this is why I'm mentioning all of this, cytochrome C oxidase can absorb red and near-infrared light. So a near-infrared light or a red photon photo-disassociates the nitric oxide, knocking it off of that enzyme and freeing up cytochrome C oxidase to resume full speed electron transport. So with red and infrared light, this enzyme can run a little bit faster. It can increase ATP output, and in the brain that means more energy for cognitive tasks. Like I said, the brain is the body's most energy hungry organ, and it runs almost entirely on energy from oxidative phosphorylation, and cytochrome C oxidase is the gatekeeper of that process. So tuning up that enzyme and increasing cerebral blood flow, which is what red light also does, that should all make the brain run better, and that is actually what we see. In sham-controlled studies, near-infrared light on the forehead over the prefrontal cortex improves sustained attention and working memory in healthy adults, and this improvement correlates with measurable increases in prefrontal cortex blood oxygenation. I do have to specify, of course, that the human evidence for red light therapy comes from devices, not yet from the sun. So focused near-infrared devices aimed at the head can improve cognition, but we're not sure yet whether that is true of the sun, although the sun is about 50% infrared and near-infrared light. Of course, UVB radiation from the midday sun causes the creation of vitamin D in the skin, and a vitamin D receptor is expressed all throughout the brain, regulating genes involved in neurotrophic support, calcium handling, and neuroprotection. So vitamin D absolutely matters for long-term brain health. But you can't necessarily expect a sunbathing session to produce vitamin D that will immediately improve cognitive performance, though. It's more like a long-term maintenance tool, not something that you can just like go out in the sun and immediately get a boost in brain performance from the vitamin D. And large randomized trials where people supplement with vitamin D hasn't shown a clear cognitive benefit, although supplements have their own limitations in this case, and I do generally think that sunlight is a better source of vitamin D if you can get it. You should also be aware that windows block UVB light, so you have to go outside in direct sunlight to make vitamin D. You can't make vitamin D if you're sitting indoors behind glass, even if you spend all day right next to a window. You've got to go outside. So to achieve all of these mechanisms, you're basically adjusting 4 variables. The timing of your light. So morning light advances the clock and makes you alert, and evening light delays the clock and it makes you too alert in the evening and it worsens your sleep. So that's not what we want to do. The next variable is intensity. So brighter light means more alertness and better cognitive performance. Outdoors is the best for this if that is possible. Third is duration, how long you're exposing yourself to light. The circadian clock responds even to very short bursts of light, but longer durations will provide a bigger dose. And lastly, spectrum. So like what color the light is, what wavelength of light you're getting. Blue enriched or cool light maximally hits the melanopsin system and tells your brain that it's daytime and time to be alert and focused. That's exactly why you want to avoid blue light at night. In the evening and at night, dim and warm light is best, ideally as little light as possible. And like I said, infrared and near infrared light seem to improve ATP production from the mitochondria. Now I want to give you some practical steps to follow. Of course, everyone's situation is different, so I've tried to account for how much freedom you have to control your light environment. So let's start with maximal freedom, like assuming that you can perfectly control your light environment. You're not limited, like you don't have to be inside, you can just go outside whenever you want and control your light environment perfectly. So like maybe you're an entrepreneur or self-employed, or you work from home, something like that. Within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up, spend 10 to 30 minutes outdoors. That sets the clock for the day and it gives you a better night of sleep later that night. I like to do a short walk outside as soon as I can in the morning, and my day is always better when I do that. Then do your hardest cognitive block in the morning near a window or even outside if that's possible. Definitely doesn't have to be in direct sunlight, just being outside will be much brighter than being inside. Even if you can't really visually tell that, the photon flow is much greater outside. If you are inside, occasionally step outside or go for a short walk on your work breaks. Many people get a bit tired and struggle to focus after lunch in the early to mid-afternoon, and this tends to be prime time for another coffee. I don't generally recommend a coffee in the afternoon because it can mess up your sleep. If you can, skip the coffee and go for a walk outside instead. Get as much sunlight into your eyes as you can, and that will definitely wake you up a bit. During the whole day, work near the brightest window available or work outside if you can, and about 2 or 3 hours before bed, dim the house, switch to warm lights, turn off all of the bright overhead lights, and remember the maxim: bright days and dark nights. And then optionally, if you really want to get deep into this, you can try a red or near infrared device on your prefrontal cortex in short bursts to help ATP production in your brain. Now let's assume that you work in like an office or something, but you have some control over your light exposure. It's really important that you protect that morning light window, even if you can't control your light exposure during work. So get your 10 to 20 minutes outside before you start work. That could just be like a quick walk around the block. It could be having your coffee on a balcony, something like that. Just try to be outside for like 10 minutes before you go and spend all day indoors. When you're in the office or the workshop or wherever you are, try and be near the window, try and be near the outdoors as much as you can. If you can open the window, that's even better, and sit facing the window or side on to it. Take any meetings and calls outside if you can, and when you do have a break, go outside or sit by the brightest window available. It's not as good as being outdoors all day, but several short outdoor exposures across the day will add up, and it's definitely better than nothing. If your building is really dim, then it might be worth adding a bright daytime desk light or a light box in the morning and in the early afternoon to get you closer to that ideal target of 250 melanopic lux. And then in the evening, same as usual, dim the lights, put on your blue light blockers, that kind of thing. If you have really low control over your outside time, just try and protect the morning window. So just after you wake up, try and get that like 10 minutes outside. That's the most important thing to do. If you do nothing else, make sure you get that 10 minutes outside shortly after waking up. And then whenever you can, try and step outside your workplace, get some sunlight. Anytime that you have a break, or you can walk between buildings, things like that. And try and position yourself close to any windows whenever you can. You don't need to be like totally neurotic about this and worrying that if you're not near the window the entire time, then you're screwed. That's not true. Don't worry too much about that. Just try and gravitate towards the brightest light source whenever you can. And yes, I'm aware that does make you sound like a moth. Now, some people will have basically zero outdoor access, like if they work a night shift or they work in a windowless office or something like that. So in that case, it's worth getting a very bright light box like 10,000 lux and using it for 20 or 30 minutes in the morning. And this is your attempt to substitute for the morning sun, and it will improve your alertness and sleep compared to not using this. Use it shortly after you wake up to get you alert and awake like you would use morning sunlight in a normal scenario. And if you have any option to be near a window, be near a window as much as you can. During your work hours, use bright, cool lights indoors, and in the evening, be very strict about dim and warm lights and blue blockers. You don't have the benefit of bright days because you're not getting sunlight, so you're going to have to be extra strict about having dark nights because you still need that contrast between bright days and dark nights as much as possible. And that is about everything I wanted to cover. Let's recap all of that. The most important thing to do is to go outside for at least 10 minutes within an hour of waking up. During the rest of the day, make your day as bright as you possibly can. That means going outside if you're able to. Spend most of the day outside if that's possible. If that's not possible, spend most of the day near a window, getting as much natural light into your eyes as you can, and go outside on your breaks and things like that. And indoors, try and have bright lights in your environment. And then at night, after sunset and in the few hours before bed, make it as dark as you can. So dim, warm lights, blue light blocking glasses, red filters on your devices. Be very strict with darkness after sunset and in the last couple of hours before bed. And lastly, maybe try a red light device for your brain, but that is taking it much further than most people will ever need to go. Most important is just doing all of the foundational light environment things that I've told you about throughout this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.